Hi everyone, this is Diane. Today we're going to get back to a series that I haven't done in a long time, and that is called Somerset Inspired. Now, if you're not aware, there is a magazine publisher called Somerset and Company, I guess, is the name of the magazine company, a publisher. But they have a lot of magazines. In Her Studio is a really fun one to get. I get it occasionally because these magazines are expensive ones. But I get In Her Studio occasionally because it's fun to look at other people's craft spaces. And let's see, there's a page in here that has different publications that they do. Is Bella Grace from Somerset? I don't know. There's Art Journaling Magazine, Green Craft, and they have special publications too. The Card Maker's Library of Inspiration. Stampington, that's what the company is. I don't know. Stampington, Somerset, they're intertwined. Bath and Body. Anyway, I love Somerset Studio. And for a long time, I would get Art Journaling magazine also. I don't buy them. I did have subscriptions to them for a while, but I don't buy them that often now because they're just expensive and I have a lot of them, and I've cut up a lot of them. So let me show you what I do with the magazines first in order to use them as inspiration, and then I'll show you some ways that I keep some of the things from these magazines. So I just have some Somerset Studio and Art Journaling magazines here. On this one, I put a post-it note on it and just put a page number and an item that I was interested in exploring. So the first one is page 10, Fabric Swatch Journal. Oh, I love this one. I even have it dog-eared. I want to make this. I love the ticking fabric on it and the photograph on the front. But each page has a swatch of fabric or lace and a picture, magazine illustration or photograph. Like it's a swatch for whatever the clothing is. Isn't that gorgeous? I love this. I really want to make that. So yeah, I'm inspired just looking at that. And this one is from 2022. So that's one way that I keep track of, you know, when I want to get out these magazines and get inspired, I can easily go to, I want to see what this 138 girly tag is. Oh, they're cute. And I've got some face stamps, some girl stamps. So that's one way. And then another thing here is I cut up my sticky notes and just put a little note at the top and use them as a little tab. I don't do a lot out of art journaling magazines anymore. I just don't do the art journaling. Maybe I will one day, but I do like to look at them just because I enjoy looking at them. Just like I like having books of art like Degas or Monet. I just like looking at the art. So there's fun ideas in them. And some magazines, they don't have as much in them. I don't have space to keep all of the magazines. And so these I haven't even gone through enough. I've looked through them, but I need to really study them more and determine what I'm going to do with them. These are newer ones. Actually, this is 2021 because I don't get art journaling anymore. This is 2024. This is the current one. So I still have a subscription. I think I get one more magazine in my subscription. So I have to go through these, and if there's not that much in there that I am interested in, I will cut out things and store them. So I'm going to show you how I store them next. And then we're going to get going on a project from a really old magazine. So I have folders have this, I don't know if you'll be able to see it very well, but it's a file folder box that I got from Amazon. And I have folders inside it, and it just sits on a bookshelf. So this folder is labeled journals. So these are ideas for making journals. This is a Nellie Wortman journal, and I took this course and made a journal for myself with that course. So they're just journals to inspire me for journal ideas. This one is pockets, so anytime I get an idea for a pocket out of a magazine, I put it in here, and each folder has one of these pouch folders to keep the smaller pieces in that I cut out. So I have pockets, tags, embellishments, fabric. What other categories do I have? Page ideas, collage, whatever ideas that you want to collect, you can make your own if you want to try this idea. Journal cards and techniques. So techniques is something that you can use for, you know, any little thing, but it's just ideas for how to do something that I want to learn or just want to remember. Rusted. I don't have much in that one. So, last week I got this. Usually this box just languishes on my bookshelf, but sometimes I feel like I want to get out that stuff and see what's in there that I can make. So I did, and I collected a few items, put them in a separate folder, and have them in here so I can access it for the things that I know I want to make kind of soon. So I have this one small piece from 2006 Somerset Studio. And there are 3 ideas on here that I want to do, and I'm hoping we're going to get to them today. So maybe I'm not interested in this page, but there's a detail. So I look at all the details when I'm going through the pages and looking at the projects, and I'll circle something that interests me. So there's this label with a tag and a number just to decorate a page. I also like that she has a hat made out of a green stamp, an S&H green stamp. And then this one I had circled, and I just recently had, pretty recently, had cut a whole bunch of these with my Cricut. So I thought, well, I should get them out and use them. And then I have this coin envelope here that's just stamped, and I thought, well, that would be something quick and easy to do. So we're going to try to do all 3 of these. I started with that label. You can see I used my stamp, label stamp, one of them, and stamped a lot of red labels here. And I just got out the little tags that I have and laid them out. I have to add some numbers to some of them. And then this is an embellishment for a page. It's pretty easy. I had to cut this one out because it was crooked, and I couldn't, it was so funny, I couldn't line this up the way I wanted to, because if I, lined it up with the tag or the label, it looked crooked to me and I couldn't stand it. So I had to cut it out so I could actually deal with it. That's just me, I guess. So I have my labels picked out here, and I need to add some numbers. These are vintage numbers. They're sticker numbers that came out of a book of labels. They're gummed. And I'm not even sure where I think I got them at a flea market, but I've had them for a long time and I never used them. So I put one there. This one is finished. It just needs to be cut out. So the rest need to be glued and then add a number. So I will have these finished, and I will just add them to my ready-made embellishments. I'll glue the labels down, and then I'll figure out what numbers I want to add. All right, the tags are glued down. Now, I have these vintage numbers, and I also have my holder of numbers. Let me see if I'll use a couple more of these. I don't think I want to put the red ones on these labels because they're red, so I'll put one of these on this one, and this one. These are die cut numbers. That I cut with my Big Shot. Some of them maybe with the Cricut. This is a negative of a number. I don't like that one. One more. Gotta zip this, because if I don't, I'll end up spilling it. I'm going to glue these numbers and then cut out the labels and show them to you, and then we'll move on to the next project. Okay, here they are, all cut out, ready to go in a journal. Fun and pretty easy. Now, if you don't have a label stamp, there are a lot of digital labels that you could look at, or use another stamp, like a frame stamp, if you happen to have a stamp that has an open center. You know, just what I like to do with these Somerset ideas is look at them, get an idea, and use what I have. I didn't have the same type of label. I do have that shape, but not in red, not in color. And there's a bubble acrylic number there, but I just had used numbers that I had. So now we're going to move on to this one. And like I said, I have a lot of these frame type things. Label holders, I think, is what they're supposed to be. And I just got them out and started looking for things to fill in. I thought of something like this. These are digital prices, but I didn't use any of them, but they would work. And they come in different sizes. Now I cut these with my Cricut, which means I can alter the size, adjust the size, because it's not just a die. But so here is a smaller one. I want you to see the little hole here. And so you can see that. But if you go bigger, of course, the hole is going to get bigger too. So I don't want to go too big because I want to be able to have something to fit in there, brad or eyelet or something. So I have the round, and I have, well, that's a slide. I didn't use those. Square. There's different things in this cartridge, and I don't even know which cartridge it was. And I have these, sorry, these gauges from Tim Holtz. They're sturdy, like cardstock, not the thick chipboard things. And then I had these photo strips. And I had a couple of little photographs. I actually own this one, and there was a man, you'll see, in uniform. And these are my photographs that I have gotten at flea markets, and I had made copies of them, and they were in with these photographs. So let me show you what I did, and then we'll make one. Or some. This was a digital piece, this little girl, and I embossed it. It was a blue cardstock, like this, and I put embossing powder on it. You can see the ends of the brads, but if I attach it to something, then these brads would be on, like if I put it on a pocket, then the brads would be on the other side of the pocket, and you won't see those ends. But I love that pink, pop of pink there. So she's got a blue bow and the pink soda. Here is one of the gauges, and I embossed, this is a khaki, or yeah, just a tan color, and I embossed it with black embossing powder and put these number brads in it. And then these are the photograph ones. So I completely changed what was done, because this is a word, a phrase, and I thought that's what I would do, but then I didn't feel like looking for little phrases that would fit in the box, so I just started looking for images. And it's not embossed, but I decided to emboss it. This might even be a metal, I think that's a metal piece. But it just was a springboard, a jumping off point. So I decided to emboss, and I'm going to show you those. Now this was embossed on the blue with distress embossing glaze in broken china. Now the glaze is a little bit translucent, and it really does make a difference, because you can see the color, the background color, the substrate color through this, but it doesn't matter with the blue. This was the first one I did. Again, it's that tan color, and I used fired brick, so it's a reddish brown, and I loved the way that looked. And I don't think you can tell, but there are some spots where the embossing powder didn't stick, so it must not have had good coverage with the medium that you use to make it stick. But I don't care. I wanted it to look spotty, and then I rubbed some black ink around it and over it, so just to kind of make it look a little older. And I don't know if I'll use these number brads, but I put them in there for now. This is one of the Tim Holtz pictures that was colorized. And I really like the way that looks. It kind of looks like leather. Now this one also was tan, and I used the Distress Glaze Speckled Egg. It doesn't look anything like that. I was curious of how, because this is a lighter color, so it like disappeared, but it kind of looked like an army green. And I tried putting another layer on, wondering if this color would show up more if it was on top of the first layer, you know. But it still looks like army green, and so that's why I decided to use that man in uniform. And I put these antique looking square brads on it. And then this one, this is fun. Oh, this one is not distress glaze, it's just black, so you couldn't see the tan through it. It's just a black embossing powder from Ranger that I got at Hobby Lobby. This is an embossing powder I've had for a very long time. It's from Personal Stamp Exchange, no longer in business, but it's woven tapestry, so it has a lot of different colors in there. And I love this, and I haven't used it in a long time. So I used it on this, and look how pretty it looks. It's also on the tan. And I love the little brads here too. Like, these are loose in there because the hole is so big. But if I put it through another page, a pocket or something, then that hole will be smaller and then they'll stay in place. Love that. So let's make some. We don't have to emboss. I want to emboss one to show you, but we don't have to. In fact, did I do? This one is not oh yeah, it is. There's another one I embossed. One of the little ones with a little digital bird that I glued to the white circle that I put behind it, and I had these small white brads. All right, let's get started on embossing something. This is the lady I was going to use. My embossing pad, it looks terrible. I always forget. I don't use it that often, and I want to use it more because I love the distress glazes and I want to keep using them. So I don't use it that often, and I always forget to look for a new one or even order it from Amazon. Maybe I'll do that today because look at that. Oh, that's black. Never mind. Where'd it go? That one really is dirty. It's all black. Where did I put it? I need it. Here it is. Versamark. It's a watermark stamp pad, but it stays wet so you can emboss. It looks gross. Someday, when I get a new watermark pad, I'll show you what else you can do besides embossing with that. So I could either, this is what I did at first. I pressed it down like that, but then you get the ink all over that, and then the embossing powder wants to stick to it. So it's going to make my fingers messy, but I just pressed it down here, and I'm not caring if I have complete coverage. I'm pressing it down as well as I can, but I don't mind if it looks like that first one I showed you that wasn't quite completely covered. It had spots that aren't that noticeable unless you look at it up close. And I just touched it there, so I took the embossing ink off of it there. Okay. So what color should we use? Let's do a different one. I think instead of using the glaze, I'm going to try this pewter to see if it makes it look metallic. And this should give full coverage because it's not a glaze. And I have an old tweezer in here that I use for all kinds of things. So I'm going to try not to pinch the project with the tweezers because it'll rub off some of the ink. So I'm just using it to lift and shake off. And I did use my little scissors for that too. Whatever was close by I grabbed. Shake off some of the stuff. And then dump this back in the jar before you turn the heat gun on. Whoops. Okay, and I'm gonna use my scissors to hold it in place when I use my heat gun, because this would blow it all around. I'm going to forward through the heating, because it's not as noisy as my old one, but it is noisy. Look at that. Looks like foil. That's really pretty. Is this, oh, the other ones were square. Well, I'm going to make her in a round one. I'm going to cut inside the line that I drew, just a little bit. And now we just need some brads. There's that one. I can rub some black ink around that too to age it up a little more. Now let's have a way to do them without embossing. You don't have to do anything to them. You can just glue a piece in, add the brads or eyelets, and you have a piece. You don't need to decorate it. But I have these three, they're all digital pieces, and I thought maybe I would just do a background stamp on some of these. I think I'll leave the brown one just the way it is and glue this in there. I forgot to get a stamp out for doing these, so I'm going to find a stamp. Actually, I think I'll just use these stamps. These are fragments, and I already had them out for the next project. And let's see. It would be fun to actually use the Versamark to stamp them and then emboss the design, but we're not going to do that right now to save time. I think I'll use this Charming Pink. That looks pretty. I think that was the wrong shade of pink to go with for that, though. I don't like that. But it looks lovely with her. So this is going in here. I like this design, even though it's a small piece. Oops. That's not going to work. That's fun. She's got some purple flowers, so I'll use purple brads. Oh, I've got to glue her in there first. Now, do I want to put this in something? Maybe not pink. I'd have to back it onto a bigger circle because there's not enough. It like goes inside the circle with nothing to glue. So I'll save this for another time and we'll move on to the next. Let me show you. And then these I showed you at the beginning that I did yesterday, and then I did this one today. So the next project is the envelopes. They have a coin envelope glued down with the flap on this side, but I started stamping. I just have to find what I did. There they are. I started stamping on the flat side before I realized, and then I did one the way they have it. So I have different sizes and colors of these. I have little ones, but I only brought one down. I thought I got more, but I had already stamped on these with my old post office stamps. So here's what I did. This is a tailor-made journal stamp, I believe, with ledgers. Yep, it's just called Ledger. And this is from Prima. These are Tim Holtz. And I had done one with the numbers upside down. The stamps don't have a printing on the back, so it's hard to know with those tiny numbers. I thought I had it right side up, but I didn't. So I did it upside down. So that's when I decided to flip it over and stamp on this side. We're going to embellish this a little bit. I have this fun one with a box of crayons from Elizabeth Craft Designs. This is that Ledger again, and this is Tim Holtz, and this is Tim Holtz. So I will ink around them, and I don't know if I'll do other embellishing, but I will put a tag in them. So today I think we're probably running short of time, so I'm going to just finish up this envelope. This will be glued down to a page. I used the same stamps that I just used here from Tim Holtz. They're called Fragments. And I stamped that in red, and I cut this into a 2-inch strip and used my tag punch to punch the top. And that goes inside. That was just a scrap of scrapbook paper. And I thought I pulled out some items that I have stamped that are in my stamped images ephemera holder, and I found these. So there are several that would look nice, so I thought we would figure them out. And I have these circles stamped on tissue paper. And I would ink that before I glued it down. I don't know if I need to ink this one. I think I'm going to go with the flower basket. This stamp is the top of a spool of thread. You know what? I think this is what I was going to put these on. So let's try this. See which one we like. I like this. takes up the length of the tag, and I like that. Let me see this one. Yep. Yeah, sorry. Forgot what I had been doing. I couldn't sleep again last night, so I was up until 3 in the morning doing these, and this was one of the last things I did, and I couldn't remember. I think just this. And I can put a little string on that and glue it to a page. So let's take a look at everything we did today. What were the first things? The labels, where did they go? Oh, they're right here. Okay, so project number 1, inspired by this. Project number 2, inspired by that. Such fun, and these are very eclectic, so they're bright and pretty, or a little more industrial looking. Some embossed, some stamped, some plain, and some vintage photograph images. And then lastly, some envelopes inspired by that one. That's a fun one. And I'll probably add something to a lot of these when they get used. So that was today's project. I hope that you got inspired by that. Look around to see what gives you inspiration. If you don't, like I said, those magazines are expensive, so if you don't, you know, have the means to indulge in something like that, there are all kinds of things around you that can inspire you to try these, including Pinterest and YouTube. So I have what do you call it, on my channel I have collections. I forgot what they call them, but a group of videos called Ephemera by Diane or something like that. So there's all kinds of videos where I make different types of ephemera. You could go check out those videos and see what inspires you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a creative day. Bye.